Hola a todos, ¿cómo estáis? Bueno, bienvenidos. Estamos aquí una vez más haciendo nuestra live session de Cambly. Hacemos estas tutorías, vamos a decir así, pero todas las semanas. Y bueno, como ya sabéis, yo soy Tiago, encantado. Esta es nuestra plataforma de Cambly. Cambly lo que haces es una plataforma donde tú puedes tener clases con los mejores tutores nativos del mundo, ¿vale? Si quieres aprender inglés, es aquí el punto donde es la plataforma, ¿vale? Y hoy estamos haciendo una cosa muy interesante, ¿vale? Para todos los que queráis empezar a hablar inglés, aquí estamos haciendo una promoción súper exclusiva para todos los que estáis aquí. Entonces, si tenéis amigos, si tenéis a alguien, comparte este link, ponen like, hacemos esto generar más, bueno, que para todos los que sepáis de esto, porque hoy estamos haciendo una promoción de un 35%, entonces tengáis hasta un 35% de descuento utilizando el código que está aquí abajo. Y pues echaré un vistazo a esto porque es muy importante. Entonces, hasta un 35% de descuento y este código está válido solo por algunas horas. Entonces, ojo que solo por algunas horas un código de 35% de descuento, ¿vale? Entonces, ahora vamos a volver y lo que queremos hacer, y hoy vamos a hablar de un tema muy interesante, ¿vale? Que es cómo estudiar en Londres. En Londres o bueno, Inglaterra o en el Reino Unido, no solo Inglaterra, pero el Reino Unido. ¿Y cómo hacer esto? ¿Vale? ¿Cuáles son las mejores universidades? ¿Cómo hacer esto? Las más conocidas. ¿En qué región del país es más famoso? ¿O se estudia mejor? ¿Se vive mejor? Un poco de todo, ¿vale? Y para eso vamos a hablar con una tutora nativa. Y para algunos ya conocéis a alguien, ¿vale? Esta tutora ya vais a conocer. Y bueno, el resto, espero que os guste. Si tenéis comentarios, poner aquí al lado y vamos a empezar con esto, ¿vale? Por eso es que ya sabéis, será todo en inglés. Entonces, well, so let's change to English. Let's go to English. So, hi Sophie, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Very, very good as well. Very good. It's summertime, so it's very good. I love you. So we will be talking about something very interesting today. So, studying in England, study in the UK. But before we start, I would like to ask, like, why you introduce yourself for the ones who don't know you yet. So, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So I'm Sophie. I am a native English speaker from the UK. I've been a tutor on Cambly for a few months now, really enjoying it. I get to meet people from all over the world, which is fabulous. I live in London now, although I'm not originally from London. I'm from a small village in the countryside in England, but I moved to London a few years ago for university, to keep it on topic. And I stayed here. I really love it here, so I just decided to stay.
Yeah, wow, London, right? So it's everybody thinks about okay, London. It's one of the most incredible cities in the world, and it's actually true. So I can imagine why you decided to stay. So and I
Yeah.
mean, we'll be talking as you said, we'll be talking about something interesting, about something that most of the people think and do researches about it. That it's studying abroad. So for everybody who's watching us here, this from Mexico, and Colombia. And, I mean, we already saw a lot of people here, Spain and Dominican Republic. So it's interesting for us to know what we need to do and a little some insights about how it is to live abroad and study in those cities. So it's extremely important to hear from, especially from people like you, from native, and some tips and some insights that we don't know. And as we were talking before, like you said, interesting things from me that I didn't know, and it was super interesting. And I think it will be very very nice for us today to share and have this knowledge about what it is to study in England. So what do you like to share like with us before we actually go to what is the best universities and all those stuff. What do you think it's important for most of the people watching here to know before look for the university?
I would say that it is the most important thing to know what subject you want to study or what career you want to go into. And that the reason I say that is for a couple of reasons. One of them is that in the UK, there are over 395 universities and colleges that offer degrees. So if you don't even know what subject you want to study, you cannot begin even searching for the right university. So that's a really, really important thing to know. Also, the reason why it's important to know which subject you want to study is because that will greatly influence the actual university you choose. Now, we have university league tables, as do most places. And of course, at the top, you've got universities you would expect, Oxford, Cambridge. I'll go more into those in a little bit. But the place where a university finds itself on that league table can vary wildly depending on which subject you choose. And I'd like to give a little demonstration of this.
Yeah, please.
Just going to share my screen. It should be there in a moment. At the moment, it's the loop. But here we go. So this is the Guardian's league table for universities in the UK. You can see at the top you've got Cambridge, St Andrews, Oxford. And this is for all universities for all subjects at the moment. But I'd like to point out a couple of examples. Actually, this is a really good one here. Number 48, Kingston University. 48 is not a bad place to be, but it's definitely not right at the top. And I'd also like to point out Bucks New Uni, which is at place 120. So this is the main table. All different subjects are included in the main table. But I'm going to change it now to design and crafts. If that's the area you want to study, you will see suddenly Kingston goes up to number 1. Whoa. Kingston is suddenly from 48 to number 1. It is the best university for a design and crafts degree. And if we look just a little bit further down, you can see Bucks New Uni at number 8.
Whoa.
All the way from 120 to number 8, because this is an area that they really excel in.
Wow.
And it's not the case that there's just not many universities who do this degree. If I scroll down, you'll see there's lots and lots of universities who offer this type of degree. So this is why it's really important to know what subject you want to do, because that's going to be the biggest factor in which university is best for you.
Yes, definitely. And that's super interesting, because it's that thing that we were saying before, like people, you guys watching us here today, if you were thinking about studying abroad or going to England, you definitely need to research before you decide the university or the place that you want to go. Do a little research about yourself. What do you want to do? And because it will be much easier, and then you will be able to find a much better university that will fit what you are looking for. And don't go into the ones that everybody knows. I mean, all of us know the Oxford and Cambridge, but you need to do a little more research, because you will be in a much better place for what you need. So it's something. It was super interesting, this. So it's very useful for all of us. And what else? What you would like to point out during sequence of that? So.
So I'll go back to the league table just for a moment, just to look at the ones that are right at the very top there. Though it doesn't matter for the most part. Here we go. We've got the main table
Mm-hmm.
back again. So, of course, at the top, you have got Cambridge and Oxford at number 3. I'll talk about St Andrews in a minute. Cambridge and Oxford are, of course, the most well-known universities from this country. If you do want to try and apply for one of these universities, one of the really important things to note is that you can only apply for one of them. You are not allowed to apply for Cambridge and Oxford. So really pick carefully if you are going to apply to one of them. Pick very carefully which one you want to go to.
Wow, that's super interesting. I mean, you have to decide before. You don't. I mean, you cannot apply for both of them and see what's happening. So, what would happen? So, it's super interesting.
The same thing doesn't apply to other universities. I should just point that out. In the UK, you can apply to up to 5 universities if you are not applying to Cambridge or Oxford. And that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter which 5 universities you're choosing. You can apply to up to 5. It's just Oxford and Cambridge that have these rules. Okay. I think it's because they get such a huge number of applicants, but I'm not entirely sure as I'm not on their admissions board.
Well, I mean, it could be because it's. I read in somewhere, where I found that they receive so many applications that they actually have to do like a filter, and you have at least 5 applicants per place. So it's if you want to go, it will be much harder. So it's a process. It's a very hard process to get into one of those 2. So I can imagine why they did that. So it's super interesting. But as you said, it doesn't apply to the other ones, right? So if you want to apply for St Andrews, for example, as you point out there, you can apply for that and one in Manchester and one in Liverpool. You can do that, right? It's just those 2.
Yeah, it's only Cambridge and Oxford which have this strange rule. All the other universities, you can apply for up to 5. I would probably recommend that you do apply for all 5, simply because you have to pay a fee to apply, and you pay a fee for up to 5 universities. So it's a bit silly to pay the fee for 5 and then only apply to 3 universities. You may as well apply for 5. Because you never know as well. You never know which ones will say yes to you.
Oh, that's interesting thing. I didn't know about that. So how do you know something about this fee? How you actually do that? It's a national fee, and it includes, from example, it includes universities in England, Wales, Scotland, all these places. Can you describe a little bit about what is that?
So the way that the system works is that you apply through a company called UCAS, and I will type that in the chat as well, just so you can see what it looks like. UCAS, and this is the company that you pay the fee to. You also then physically send your applications via UCAS. You don't send them directly to the university. And then UCAS will send those applications to the universities and then send you back the results. And yes, this is for all parts of the UK. It's for England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland. A lot of people forget that there are some brilliant universities in Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland. If I go back to the league table for a moment, here we go. St Andrews. St Andrews is in Scotland, and it's the second in place on the league table this year for universities in the UK. It's a Scottish university. Not very far down as well, we have Glasgow, at number 14. Glasgow is also in Scotland, also one of the top universities. So really don't be scared to look at other parts of the UK other than England. And also don't be afraid to look outside of London if you do want to stay in England. I know that's a little bit ironic because I did go to London myself for university. But there are so many incredible universities all around England, outside of London. Indeed, Cambridge and Oxford are not in London. And as well, it can be quite expensive to live in London. I say quite, we're one of the most expensive cities in the world to live in. So there are definitely cheaper parts of the country that you can live in and still have access to a really good university. Especially if you go to the north of England, there are some fantastic universities in the north of England, and generally Northern England is a very cheap place to live. So some universities up north that are really, really good. You've got the University of Newcastle, the University of Manchester, the University of Lancaster. You've got Northumbria University. You've got Liverpool. You've got a couple of universities in Liverpool, actually. You've got the University of Liverpool and then Liverpool John Moores as well. So you've got universities, really good universities all around the country. So don't feel that you have to go to London. There are other places that you can go around the UK and still have a wonderful experience and turn out with a really good degree at the end of it.
Definitely it is. I mean, let me ask you something that these main table that we were looking before, it's just for the universities in general, or you can look for example, postgraduate degrees, or do you know what if that is? Because maybe we can share, because I see that a lot of people are asking here about specific topics, and I would like to say maybe they can look up to these websites. Can you share the website with us, and then we can maybe say for everybody it will be interesting for them to do their research. Because for example here, Nazaret Vasquez, hello Nazaret, hola, and she asked just would like to know the best universities to study a postgraduate degree in education, so specifically in little children education. So it will be something that she can actually look for this, so it will be much interesting for her to do the research.
Absolutely. So actually, this is slightly biased, but the university I went to is one of the top universities for education. So I went to St Mary's University, which is in southwest London.
Okay.
And it's one of the best universities for education, especially postgraduate education. A degree from St Mary's, a postgraduate in education, is considered a very, very good degree to have. But there are other universities, so I will talk about other universities as well.
But I mean, that's even good. So Nazaret, she just answered what you were looking for. So Sophie, can you write down for us the name of the university and everything more so Nazaret can actually look up, and as you said, so it's just specifically what she asked for. So it was interesting. I thought it will be okay. It's difficult to answer, but it was.
But yeah, sure. So just in the chat, this is the university I went to, St Mary's University. Also, just to clarify, that's St Mary's University, Twickenham. There is also a St Mary's University in Northern Ireland. And that is not the one that specialises in education. Okay. So it's the one in Twickenham. So if you want to look at other universities as well, the Guardian's league table is a very, very good one to look at. I will post the link just so that everyone can see it, but I'm happy to give it to you, Tiago, as well, so that you can put it somewhere in the comments. Another really good another really good website to look for whether you want undergraduate or postgraduate is this one just here, whatuni.com. And this one you can choose the subject and you can choose the level of degree, and it will give you a list of the universities that do that degree at that level, and it has ratings. So students can give the degree a rating and you can read people's experiences. It also gives you an idea of what the entry requirements might be. So you can have an idea of whether you would meet the standard for that particular degree. So yeah, What Uni is a very good one to go on to compare different degrees at all levels.
Okay, so there you will be able to see like the requirements for applying for one or the other, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I can actually, if you would like, I can do a little demonstration.
Yeah, sure, feel free.
Let me go back on my screen share. So I've got What Uni up now.
Okay, so before we go, let me just give a just quick introduction. Not introduction. I'll just say that for everybody who is watching us now on Instagram, our live will be ending on Instagram and will continue just on YouTube. So make sure to click on the link that we put it on the bio, and it will be there, and then we'll continue on YouTube. So make sure to click that and go straight to YouTube. The live on Instagram will end. Okay, so para todos los que estáis en Instagram, cogéis hacer clic en el enlace y podéis continuar a asistir a esta clase en YouTube, ¿vale? Yeah, so that's it. So sorry for interrupting you, so you can continue there.
That's okay. So yeah, but here we have What Uni, and I've gone onto the courses tab here just to have a look at a postgraduate education degree. Okay. That is exactly what I'm going to search for. I'm not searching location at the moment.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. So normally it does give the entry requirements. It's not doing it right now. But definitely if you go on to each individual degree. So for example, the University of Bolton here has this professional development in education, MED, and then you can get more information about that degree. You have some of the stats here. You have the duration of the degree, module options. Tuition fees is quite good to know because it can be quite pricey to study abroad.
Yeah.
This is what I meant by the reviews as well. They have reviews from actual students who have been to these universities and done these degrees.
That's very good.
And they definitely do normally have the entry requirements, and I cannot find it right now.
But I mean, it's somewhere inside, right?
Yeah. So it's, and you can also then click the link to take you to the website for that degree, and on the website it will have even more information about anything and everything to do with that degree and that particular university. So yeah, What Uni, a very good website to use.
Okay, that's very useful for everybody. We are going to put those links on the comments here, so make sure to research about it and click on those and do your research if you wanted to study abroad. If you were thinking about going to the UK, that you definitely should, because it's an amazing country, and you need to make sure to do their research. So do that. As you said, like the tuition fees, sometimes it's a thing for you if you're looking for or not. So do your research. So make sure to spend a few hours on those websites. And so I mean, we please continue.
I was going to mention another thing that you can do to research. UCAS actually has a website which allows you to talk to students from all different universities on all different courses. So I'll put the link to that in the chat as well. So if you want to have a greater understanding of what it's like to go to a particular university and do a particular degree, this is a really, really good option to look into. And also, they have students from all around the world on this chat service. So that all of them are at university in the UK, but the students come from everywhere. So you can even just find someone who's from your country, even if it's not the university you're looking for, and ask them, okay, what were the things that you found difficult about moving to the UK from, say, Ecuador, from Spain, from whichever country you might be from. You will almost certainly find students from that country on this chat site. So it's a good way to get an idea of the differences in culture between your country and the UK.
Definitely. Talking with someone, especially when you do that, I mean, talking with natives, it's super important because you have the feeling about what is actually to be a British and what is the culture, and you get the feeling about that. But when you talk about from someone, if you are from Mexico, for example, and you talk for, even if you talk for someone from Colombia, you know there is a slight, I feel, difference between the cultures between Mexico and Colombia, but it's a small difference in terms of culture from Mexico to England. So it's different. So it's such a useful tip that you just gave us to talk with people that they lived abroad, they studied there, and you will be able to give you an example of things or an idea about how actually it is to study abroad in the universities and everything more. So super useful tip. We'll put this link as well in the comments, so make sure to research, guys.
It's a brilliant site, and also it's an idea to have an idea of the language difference. For any of you who've learned American English, British English can be quite different to American English. So it can be quite good to chat with people to have an idea of how difficult did they find that difference in going from having learned American English to British English.
Definitely.
Because even Americans sometimes find it quite difficult when they come over here. They sometimes don't understand some of the things that we say.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true, actually. And I would like to point out something that even have big differences between the English in London, for example, and Scotland. I mean, I know I have a friend from Scotland, and his father, he speaks, I think it was one of the most difficult Englishes that I ever heard in my life. It was completely hard for me to understand what his father was saying, because it was super, I mean, it was completely different. The type of English that I don't know, it was very hard for me. But I mean, it's something that you definitely need to research as well. So the difference between the accent and the northern part of England and the UK in general. So Ireland they have a different English from the London, and Scotland is different. So there is these differences, right? You need to research even inside the UK.
Yeah, it really varies quite a lot. I remember, as someone from the east of England, the first time I heard somebody with a Glaswegian accent, so someone from Glasgow in Scotland, I didn't understand them. And I'm a native speaker of English, and I didn't understand them. Now I've spoken to a few more people and I understand better. But wherever you are going within the UK, it's definitely worth looking into whether they have a very strong accent or a very strong dialect. And also, if you're going to Wales, it's also really important to note that Wales has their own language. So Wales is a bilingual country. They speak English and Welsh, and when you go there, you will find that everything is in both languages. So don't think, oh, have I suddenly not able to understand English anymore because I don't understand half of what this says. No, it's a completely different language. very, very different to English. But just be aware of that if you are going to Wales to study.
All right. So do, as we said before, so do research not just into what you want to do and the university that you want to do, but the culture of the city that you want to live. So because it is important to know those kind of things. So interesting to know about Wales. And in Wales, they have a very different kind of English as well. So I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting how a huge country, but they have so many different cultures inside in one country. So it's amazing. So.
But that's one of the most attractive things about coming to the UK to study. Obviously, we have some brilliant universities and brilliant degrees here, but our country is so different to anywhere else, really. And just by coming to this one country, you can experience so many cultures within this one country. Yeah. And it's very easy to travel around the UK. We have train links to most parts of the UK. Certainly cities are all interconnected. And lots of areas of the countryside are very easy to get to as well. So if you wanted to spend some of your time in the UK exploring the UK, that's very easy to do so. And I would definitely recommend it if you have the time to do so.
Yeah, definitely. And that's bring us to talk a little bit about the most well-known universities in the country. That probably it is Oxford and Cambridge, and those are sometimes people say, okay, so it will be in London, and those are not necessarily in London. So they're kind of near, but they are not in London, right? So let's talk a little bit about both of those, and which one do you think it's the one that we should start with?
So Cambridge is the one that is closest to London, if that is what you're looking for. It's less than an hour by train to get from London to Cambridge. And I know Cambridge quite well as a city. I went there quite a lot growing up. It's a wonderful city, beautiful city to go to. So even if you don't go to Cambridge University, visit Cambridge while you're in the UK. And Oxford is a little bit further away from London, but still not very far from London. It's a little bit over an hour by train. Or you can get what we call the Oxford Tube. And the Oxford Tube is literally a big coach that it goes directly from London to Oxford multiple times a day.
Wow.
So it's not a tube. Tube is the nickname we give to our metro trains.
Yeah. If you watched our last YouTube live here, me and Sophie, you probably know what tube is. So I mean, if you don't, just research about our last live session, then you will discover more.
But yeah, it's a really useful service. So if you go to Oxford or Cambridge, but it's important for you to have that access to London, it's going to be easy for you to do that. It's very easy to travel to London from those two cities.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, they are both very well connected. As you said, like all the big cities are well connected. So both those two especially, right? It's something that since they have a lot of people, and Oxford, I mean, I don't know even how many students they have, but I think I read something that it's something around 15,000 or 18,000 students, so it's huge. And they need to have these this infrastructure, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really common in the UK for universities to have over 10,000 students, getting on for 20,000 students, because we just have a lot of universities that are very popular. We do have smaller universities, though. I know for some people, going to a really big university is quite scary. I know for myself that was a factor because I came from a very small village and I was already moving to one of the biggest cities in the world. So I didn't go to a huge university with tens of thousands of students. I went to a much smaller one. So if you are in a similar situation, you're coming from a very small place and you'd rather stay in a small, tight-knit community, there are universities like that in the UK, and it's worth looking into that. Oxford and Cambridge are not some of those. They are bigger universities, but there definitely are smaller ones, if that's really important to you.
Yeah, definitely. And you need to know, like, those cities, basically, it's kind of I never been to Cambridge or Oxford, but my idea about the city, that everybody says it's not a huge city, but it's quite a okay big city in this way, and but the economy in the city, mostly it's around the university, since those two is very important. The economy in the whole city, it's based, it's because of the university itself. So it is true. It's something like that, because it's kind of my vision about what those two cities are.
Yeah, it's really true, and it's not just true for Oxford and Cambridge, but it's true for some other cities with big universities as well.
Yeah.
That when the universities are actually the students are at the universities, the population of the cities rises a huge percentage, and with Oxford and Cambridge as well. Those two cities actually have more than one university. Everyone knows the University of Cambridge and the University of Oxford, but in Oxford you also have Oxford Brookes University, and in Cambridge you also have Anglia Ruskin University. So you've not just got the over 10,000 students at the big ones, you've got these other universities as well.
Yeah.
But it is good, because it does mean that if you go to a city which is popular with students, you will have a lot of facilities that are designed for students, especially student discount. We love student discount in the UK. So many places offer student discount. And when you go to your university, you should be given an ID card on your first day, and that will get you your discount to so many places.
That's good.
But if you're in a really popular city for students, then you will find more places offer student discount for you.
Yeah, definitely. And it's something that actually is very, when I did a little research about, for example, in Oxford, it's not just that. There's a history in the city itself. I saw, because I have a kind of I really like libraries and those kind of stuff. So I did a kind of a fast research, and I saw that in Oxford they have more than 100 libraries in the city, and one of those, like the most like the oldest one, I think it's from the beginning of the 17th century. So it's just to go inside one of those places. I mean, you're already in a city surrounded by students and have all these things, but just to imagine the history on that. I mean, it's, if you go inside a library that it's, I don't know, 300 years old. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that it is amazing. So it's the city itself, it's amazing, and this whole infrastructure, and you have the whole history that comes with it. So I think it should be amazing to be there.
Absolutely. And also, that's actually just reminded me about something. If there is anyone here for whom the library at the university is the most important thing, the University of Leicester, unless it's changed recently, has the biggest university library in the country.
Whoa.
I'll type that in the chat as well, because Leicester is not pronounced how it's spelt. Which is the joy of British place names. They are so often not pronounced how they're spelt. Sorry, University of Leicester, not in Leicester. Yeah, so they have the biggest library in the UK, the biggest university library in the UK, and I have never been there. I know people who went to the university and have been there. I have seen images of it, however, and it is huge. I have never seen a library like this one.
Wow.
So if this is something that's important to you, having a large library with lots and lots of resources, then University of Leicester is one that you should consider. Assuming they do the degree that you want to do.
Of course. Don't forget about it, please, everybody. Do the research about what your degree. So, but I mean, I will definitely research about it, because even I'm not going to do university anymore, and I already did my master's. I'm done with that. But I definitely want to visit those. I mean, it should be beautiful and amazing. So I'll definitely research about that myself. And let's say, because you said it would be very interesting, as you said in the beginning, about the St. Andrews, and talk a little bit more about this one that you said it's in Scotland, so it comes out about like what people think about in England and London, near London. So give us a little bit about like this introduction about St. Andrews.
Yeah, so it's very strange for British people, because we know St Andrews University quite well. We know that it's one of the most prestigious universities in the UK. But people outside of the UK don't seem to have often heard of St Andrews. So it's in Scotland, and I'm actually just going to get it up on a map here, just to show you exactly where in Scotland it is, because it's not in a big city, which is very, very unlike many universities in the UK. So let me just share my screen again.
Okay.
Here we go. So you can see London is all the way down here, and then you get into Scotland, and it's over here on the coast. So it's a very, very historic place in Scotland. Well, you can see from the images actually over on the side, some of the old buildings in St Andrews. So it's a very small town. So if you're looking for that smaller environment, a less busy environment, then St Andrews is a good option. And it is one of the most prestigious universities in the UK. As I showed on the league table earlier, it's actually above Oxford at the moment. It's considered to be a better university than Oxford. But of course, that is generally always look at the individual subject options. So St Andrews is certainly considered to be a very, very good university to go to. And it's by the seaside. If you want to go to the seaside but you don't want to go to St Andrews, another really good university, I'm gonna spell it because it's a very strange spelling, and I actually need to make sure I spell it right because it's a Welsh word.
Really? So yeah,
Welsh is not my first language at all. Aberystwyth University. So Aberystwyth University is also on the seaside, but in Wales. And so if you want that kind of laid back environment, you're still working hard, but you've not got the buzzing city around you. St Andrews and Aberystwyth are both good options for you. Both beautiful places to visit as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're in the seaside, so imagine that. It is beautiful, I can imagine. And let me ask you something that I saw here, a very interesting question. Let's see if you know, like because we had this question about the Juan. So hi Juan, how are you? And he asked, like, I want to study in one university in the UK, and but I cannot travel, and so I want to know if there are online programs for people and not from other countries. Do you know if there's those big universities, they have online programs?
So can I just clarify whether you mean an online course with the university, or whether you mean can you find out about the university and see the university before you actually travel there to study? Because the answer is slightly different depending on which one it is.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, I don't know if they meant to, if he cannot come here right now. But I mean, anyway, it was, as you point out, it's actually very interesting to know about it. But these two sides. So Juan, let us know in the comments what you actually, if you cannot come to England right now, or if you are wanting to know a little bit more about what the university looks like in general. But I mean, what do you think about if they wanted to visit the university online? Let's see, like that.
Yeah. So if that is the issue, that you can't come to visit the university before you actually study, that is not a problem. Pretty much every university offers what they call virtual open days. So you can speak to tutors, you can have a look at the campus through a video. You can find out about other aspects of the university. So what's the accommodation like? They have a social area, like a bar or a gym. Some places have a gym. So you can certainly find out anything you need to know, and you can get a general idea of what it's like to be on that university site before you go. If you do get the chance to actually go, that's also great, but you can really get a lot of information just by attending these virtual open days. So if that's your worry, don't worry, because you really can find the information you need.
Okay.
If it's the online courses, there is a university in the UK called the Open University. Just going to type that in the chat as well. The Open University is entirely online. So I don't know what their procedure is for accepting students from other countries, but certainly they offer online degrees. Apart from that, it's very uncommon to find a degree which can be done completely online in the UK. I don't want to say there aren't any, because there might be, and I just don't know about it. But certainly the universities I've looked at don't offer that. They do offer other courses, some of them, however. So some of them will offer courses about a particular subject. That's really interesting. So another really good website for this, just going to type that in the chat, is FutureLearn. So FutureLearn is a website where a lot of universities offer free short courses online. So also, this is a good way to get an idea of what a university's teaching might be like. So I recently did a short course, a history short course from the University of Exeter. And so that really gave me an idea of the teaching style of the University of Exeter's history department. So that can be a good option as well if you want to have an idea of a university, or if you just want to increase your knowledge in a certain area to a university standard level. But actual degrees, entire degrees done online, not very common in the UK.
Okay, so that's interesting. So it's kind of most of those, they have some subjects online, but most of the time they have to go to a campus to study, right?
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, because of coronavirus, it's a little bit different because a lot of the teaching is online. But it is still expected that once things are back to normal, you would have to attend classes in person. So it's not actually an online degree, it's just a temporary measure while things are a little bit strange.
Yeah, I mean, maybe most of those things that we are talking here, maybe for the next year will be completely different. So I don't know, let's see how the things are going, because these viruses just change everything that
Yeah.
that we were used to. So I mean, let's see what will happen. But I mean, I think in general the best, like, this good university is not just about the the name itself. It's about, like, the people you meet, the network that you do. So it's about the people and not just about the brand itself. So look up for that. So it's definitely something super interesting and to think about. The people. It's not the brand. It's not one curriculum. It's not just, it's the people that we're going to meet. So the virus will not change.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I've been referring to the league table quite a lot, but really, the league table is just a guide. The university that's right for you will feel right to you. And a degree, it's obviously it's important for your career, for getting a higher salary, but it gives you so much more than that. It gives you the opportunity to meet people from different cultures. It gives you the opportunity to grow as a person and to develop new skills, to build new friendships, to learn how to communicate with people in ways you had no idea how to do before. And all of those things can be done at any university realistically. It's just a matter of which one feels right to you, which one feels like a place you could see yourself for the duration of your degree.
Yes, definitely. Super, couldn't agree more with you. And actually, this comes to what maybe this is a very interesting question that I saw here. Actually, it's from the girl that asks about the postgraduate, and you said your university that you did was the right one, and she asked again. So Nazaret, hello, and it was thanks. We're glad that you like it. And she just put it here. I must confess that I am a little afraid to study abroad, but at the same time, I would love to. And it's too. And she asked for you, like, it is too difficult to study there. And she said that she's from Chile. So hi everyone from Chile. And what do you think about it?
Well, the first thing I will say is that St Mary's University actually has a lot of links with Chile. So they really want to get more students from Chile. So you would be very welcome at this particular university that I went to. But even if this is not the one you choose, even if you choose a different university within the UK, it's scary. I'm not going to lie to you. It's scary going to a university in another country. But certainly universities here are so positive about having students from other countries. They want students from other countries because they know that it really improves the experience for all students if they have students from around the world. So if that's something that's scaring you, if you feel that you're not going to fit in at the university, you will find most likely that there are people from your country, and certainly that speak your native language, if that's where your worries are. And you will find that people who are not from your native country and don't speak your native language want to make friends with you because they want to learn more about your culture. And if you're worried just about coming to the UK in general because it's such a different culture, then as I mentioned, the UCAS chat that you can go on, that's a really good way to speak to people from your culture or from a similar culture to find out, okay, what are those elements of British culture that are quite different so that you can be prepared for it when you come here.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, it is quite difficult to change, but the way that the people that you're going to meet, everybody, it's super, they are in the same level as you. So most of them, they are living abroad. Even if they are from the UK, because sometimes they are from Glasgow, but they are studying in London. So I mean, they will be moving cities as well. It will be different for them. So it's I think it's a very interesting way to grow like yourself, right? So I think I mean, it's super interesting to live abroad and to have this experience. So, but as you said, I mean, it it is scary, but it's definitely worth it. So,
Yeah, that's the crux of the issue.
yeah,
It's scary, but it's worth it.
yeah,
100% worth it. So if obviously there are practical issues to coming to the UK, getting everything in place, getting visas, getting funding,
mm-hmm.
but the fear is something that you can overcome. And once you get to the end of the degree, you'll think, why was I even scared? There was no reason for me to be scared. This has been a brilliant experience.
That's true. That's true. And actually, this comes to, as you said, there's comes to. I saw here some questions. It comes to a very interesting. I saw two questions here that I would like to point out, but I see some other people asking. One, it's the Berenice, for example. She's asking about if you know some scholarships for people that you can apply in the UK, and there is this guy Iber Brando. So hi, and he has something interesting. Like, what's the difference between scholarship and fellowship? Do you know what?
Okay. So the first thing I will say is that most universities offer scholarships, although you will often see them referred to as bursaries.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't see the word scholarship, but you see this word, go for this word.
Uh-huh.
Some universities use this.
Bursaries.
So there are some scholarships which are not available to international students,
Mm-hmm.
but generally most universities offer at least one scholarship to international students.
Uh-huh.
Exactly how much that is varies according to the university. It can vary from £100 to having your entire degree paid for.
Uh-huh.
So it really just depends upon the actual university itself.
Okay.
Now, there is a slight difference between scholarship and fellowship, but I am just double checking that I've got my facts right, because my university didn't offer fellowships, so I didn't have to look at this when I went to university.
But yeah, it is a difference that sometimes we need to know, and those is slightly different things. And as you said, like a lot of people are just researching about scholarships, and sometimes they do already saw these word bursaries, but they didn't know about what was that. So it is interesting. So you're looking for a scholarship like Berenice. If you're looking for that, just look for this little word here. It is important, and need to know this vital difference between scholarship and fellowship. Yeah, that's true, and I actually don't know. So
yeah, I've just double checked, and it is what I thought it was. So a scholarship is just money that you get for some kind of achievement, usually academic achievement. So usually you have incredibly high grades, but some places it can be for achievement in music or achievement in sport. Whereas a fellowship is, it's a status within the university, and it's usually it's a position where you're expected to do something. So maybe to do some research, or to help with something, and it may also result in you having some financial aid for that, but not always. So this is not my area of expertise, because, like I said, my university didn't offer fellowships, only scholarships. But there is a very slight difference between them, in that a fellowship, you are expected to actually have a position within the university.
Okay. Well, that's super interesting. So do research about it as well. So if you were looking for a fellowship, research about these universities that you actually have. So as you said, the St. Mary's don't have the fellowship, so research about these one as well. And I mean, I think we already have been through a lot of topics, and maybe we can talk about these more in the future in another lives, because I saw that you have a lot of interesting for people. So thank you guys for the interesting at that. If you have more questions, make sure to put here on the comments for the video, and make sure to share it with your friends and family, everybody you want it. And don't forget, as I said in the beginning, we are offering this code here that we put it on the description, gives you 35% discount. So it will be available just for a few hours, so make sure to click on that and make sure to subscribe. And here in the description you have the link for Sophie's profile here as well, so if you want to schedule a class with her, it's down here, the link. So make sure to schedule a class with her if you wanted to know more about the English culture. Is definitely, she's the best one to teach you all of that. And I mean, it has been, it was amazing, Sophie. Thank you so much. Do you want to like say something more for us here?
Just it's been really lovely talking to you again, Tiago. We've had some brilliant questions, and I'm always happy to answer any questions around moving to the UK, around British culture. So if you do decide to come onto Cambly and you want to ask me any questions, please do feel free. I'm very happy to help.
That would be amazing, and I mean, you guys will definitely see us again, because we'll do more of those live sessions. And yeah, I mean, thank you very much for your time, Sophie. It was amazing. And thank you guys.
Thank you very much as well.
Thank you guys as well. Thank you everybody. So make sure to put here all your questions, and we'll do our best to answer those as well. And so we'll see you next week. Next week, don't forget, we'll be on live Thursdays as well, and we'll be here. Make sure to follow. Make sure to give us a like, and we see you next week. So thank you, Sophie, and bye bye, guys. It was a pleasure to have you guys here. So hasta luego a todos. And that's it.